Hey y'all, I'm Robin, and in today's video, I'm going to show you 3 easy spring crafts using mostly dollar store items. So if you're ready, let's get into the first one, which is a textured carrot planner. I'm using one of these tall metal vases from the Dollar Tree, the kind that has the jute wrapped around the top. And it's slightly wider at the top than it is the bottom. And it kind of reminded me of a carrot. I wanted some texture to this planner because, carrots aren't perfect. They have little dips and, rough edges. So I am mixing some baking soda with my Waverly chalk paint in the color pumpkin, and I really didn't have a recipe for this. I just sort of eyeballed it and kept adding some paint and baking soda until I got it to the consistency that I wanted for the first layer. There really is no right or wrong using this method with the baking soda and paint. It's really a matter of personal preference. I just knew that I wanted this first layer to be painted on, but I didn't want it to be smooth like paint. I did want some little grains of texture in there, if you will. So, really, like you see, I just kept adding and mixing and adding and mixing because I did want it smooth. Okay, I meant to say not smooth. I meant to say well combined. So I'm using one of the foam brushes that I got from the Dollar Tree. That way I did not have to worry about washing it out and I could just throw it away when I was done. So I'm using more of a painting motion for this very first layer and I'm giving it a pretty good coat just one time going all the way around the bucket. I didn't worry about going in any specific direction. I just, I went sideways, I went up and down. Like I said, there really is no right or wrong way, and it is total personal preference. Now, after this first coat was put on, I did let it dry overnight because it is slightly thicker than just regular chalk paint. So I let it dry overnight before I applied the second coat. Once the first coat had dried completely, I went back and added more paint and a lot more of the baking soda so I had a thicker consistency. And to get the texture that I was looking for, I used a dabbing motion like you would if you were stenciling, like a pounce with the same sponge brush that I used before. I love the texture that this gave. This was fun. This was actually the first time I'd ever used the baking soda with the paint. And if you guys haven't tried it, it's so much fun and so easy. There's literally no way to mess it up because it's all up to you. You can see how I'm beginning to get those little raised lumps and bumps into on the oh gosh, guys, tongue tied. You can see how I'm getting that raised texture on the planter. And the thicker you apply it, the more pronounced the texture will be. And I wanted this really, really, really textured. I wanted those lumps and bumps and all the imperfections to stand out. When the second coat had dried, I used my Waverly Antique Wax and began to kind of dirty up that jute around the top because this is kind of the top of my carrot. And, carrots are dirty when you pull them up out of the ground. So I really like the look that this gave to the jute. And I'm just going at it, kind of putting it on there wherever I think it needs a little more of that dirty look, and even below the jute. And of course, hitting some of those texture marks, if you will, on the planter itself to represent, you know, the carrot because they come out of the ground dirty. My original idea for this was to, of course, paint the planter and then just stick some greenery in the top, and that was going to be it. But as you know, sometimes when you sit down to craft, you kind of change your mind as you go, and that's kind of what I did here. I'm using some boxwood from Walmart, and I don't remember where I got those fern leaf looking things. I thought it would be cute to make it a little more interesting. So I took some of the larger carrots that you get from the Dollar Tree and stuck them on a skewer, and I cut them at varying heights. And I think I used five and just stuck them in wherever I thought they needed to go inside my planter. This is one of my favorite crafts in this video, and if you like it too, please hit that subscribe button and that notification bell so you don't miss another DIY video. And for the finishing touch, I thought, what would this be without using my cute little bunny butt from the Dollar Tree? And as you see, I just added a twine bow, and there you have it. So cute. I love this next craft because it can be used year round. You're going to need some 5-gallon paint stir sticks, some 1-gallon stir sticks, and about 18 tumbling tower blocks. So, to build a stand for my picket fence, you're going to need to put together 6 sets of 3 of the tumbling tower blocks. I do recommend using a carpenter square because, as we all know, these tumbling tower blocks are not all cut evenly, and you do want to make sure that they're all nice and level. And I'm using my Gorilla Super Glue Gel to hold them together because I do not want this sucker to fall over. I don't want it to come apart. So I highly recommend that stuff. Love it. I have seen tons of other crafters make these little picket fences, so I really don't know who to give credit to because I've seen everybody do it. And I know you guys have too, but I wanted one for myself. So all you're going to need of the 5-gallon stir sticks is 2 pieces. Now the 1-gallon sticks, I used 5. Of course, you can make it as big as you want. And I'm using my Dixie Belle chalk paint in the color drop cloth and not even giving it a real serious coat, if you know what I mean. I mean, I didn't care if some of the wood showed through because, I'm all about the rustic farmhouse look. But this paint, guys, it goes on so smooth, and very, very little goes a long, long way. I highly recommend it. And I'm not being paid, I'm not sponsored, but I do have a link to the Dixie Belle website in my description box below. I also painted the top part only of 3 sets of the tumbling tower blocks. And now I'm building my stand, making block sandwiches. Just stacking 2 sets together with the painted side up top. I did not want um to paint the whole thing. One, there was no sense in it, and two, I wanted the wood to bond to the wood, not wood bonding to paint. And then I just clamped them together. And so far at this point, everything is going well. really well. I'm like, Robin, you got this. This is so easy. And it is easy. But you'll see here after a while, of course, I made a mistake, and that's totally okay. You'll see. I'm using the grid lines on my cutting mat to line up my horizontal paint sticks, make sure they're evenly spaced. And then I'm using my carpenter square to make sure that the vertical sticks are straight. And I'm making marks, I think about every 4 inches. That was what I had planned out in my head. As you'll see in the end, I kind of missed a mark, but it all turns out okay. So once I had my marks made, I then use my Gorilla Super Glue gel and just place a few dots and start attaching my paint sticks. Whether you're returning or a brand new viewer, my name is Robin, and I want to welcome each and every one of y'all here to my channel. I am a young channel, but I am growing, and I have a goal to reach 2,000 subscribers by my 1 year YouTube anniversary on April 11th. So if you haven't hit that subscribe button, I invite you to go ahead and do so. And I want you to know how much I truly, truly appreciate each and every one of y'all deciding to spend some time with me by watching this video. Your support means the world to me, and I wouldn't be here doing this if it wasn't for everybody that watches and comments, and you're just so kind and supportive. And I love this little community that we're building here on YouTube, and I'd love to have you join if you haven't already. So as you can see, I've got everything all nicely spaced out. Everything's level, straight, just scraping some excess glue off. And there on the end, towards the top of the screen, you can see where I messed up, and I didn't even realize it at that point. I glued my end piece instead of past the mark on to the right, I glued it to the left side of my mark. But anyway, it you know what? It'll be okay because I can add on to it, make a L shape or whatever. So now it's time to attach my fence to the little stands. And I'm using the tumbling tire block sandwiches that we made earlier. And all I'm doing is using the grid lines on my mat to make sure that all the blocks are lined up in a straight line and attach them with some more of the super glue gel. And now I'm using 3 additional tumbling blocks and hot gluing those to the back. That way it's got support. And that's really all there was to it, except for my one little flub up there. But you know what? It's okay. Now, I got a distress, so I'm using my Waverly Antique Wax, and I am just applying it wherever I think it needs it. I want this fence to look old and dirty, like it's, supposedly been outside in the weather. And one of my favorite techniques is to use the side of my brush and just lightly go with the grain, and this just gives it some marks like it was, wood and somebody painted it white, and now it's starting to wear, and you can see the wood, quote unquote, coming through. So really, dry brushing and distressing is just a personal preference. I love the way that fence turned out. I was inspired to make this rabbit crate planner by a piece I saw at Dollar General. And actually, that's where I got my bunnies. And as you can tell, these are very thick and very heavy. I'm using a crate that I got at Michael's. Now, it's not as long as the one from the Dollar Tree, but it is very sturdy. So I sanded off all the splinters and rough edges. And what I'm going to do is paint one side of the rabbits in a purple color and cover the other side with some pretty scrapbook paper. Now, I thought, okay, I will cover the side I'm going to paint with a good coat of white chalk paint, and that will give the acrylic paint, the purple paint, something to stick to. Oh boy, I should have gone with my gut and used my sander and sanded that side off. I think it I would have been better off in the end because oh Lord, let me tell you, I did it took 4 coats of that acrylic purple paint to completely cover the one side of the bunny. But for my crate, I'm again using my Dixie Belle paint in the color drop cloth, and I am in love with this color, y'all. It is the perfect off-white color. Love it. Here I've traced out my bunnies. I'm cutting out my scrapbook paper at super warp speed and applying them with my Gorilla Craft Glue Stick. Once the 4 coats of paint had dried to the bunnies, I'm using my super glue gel and just a little bit of hot glue, not mixing the two. And this is how I am attaching a rabbit to each end of my crate. I really hope y'all are enjoying these crafts that I've made today because I had a blast making them. I was so glad to get back out into the she shed and start crafting again because, as some of y'all know, it's been a rough couple weeks around here. We've had some health scares with my husband, and I needless to say, I've been under a lot of stress. So I truly appreciate each and every one of y'all watching this video and spending your time with me because that really means a lot. But anyway, to finish this little planner off, I just threw in some scrap foam that I had. I'm using my boxwood and some little white flowers and some little purple spriggly things to fill it in and just make it really full. Now, I love bunnies, y'all. I think they're cute for all spring long, but I know some of y'all may be on bunny burnout. So if you are on bunny burnout, let me know in the comments below. Do you want to see more rabbits? No more rabbits? Let me know your thoughts on that. I love the way these crafts turned out, guys. Love that bunny butt. They're so cute. So, you guys comment below which one was your favorite from today. And I would really appreciate it if you guys could help me in my quest to reach my goals by April the 11th by liking, commenting, definitely sharing this video with family and friends, and subscribing if you haven't done so already. And if you are in need of some more spring DIY inspiration, click the video on your screen right now, and I would truly appreciate it. And until next time, y'all, go get your craft on. Bye.